So there are a lot of times, though, that we do see shows like on the internet and on Tumblr and stuff that are not like licensed in America, and you're like, how do I watch this? Like, I want to watch this, blah, blah, blah. So there are times, very rare, when a show's license is just like not available. But we'll still try to like start a conversation, of course, like, hey, like talk to the publisher, like, hey, we have a streaming service, let's put this on here. And sometimes the studio or like the publisher is just like not equipped to do it at that time. They like might not have like the staff, or like the reason could be anything, but Crunchyroll does always try to like start the conversation. You know, if we see that there's an anime out there that we want to watch, we know our users want to watch, we'll say, hey, we'll knock on some doors and say, hey, let's do this. But it's always a negotiation. We do have like publishers that we work with like every single season, like TV Tokyo and blah, 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 things like that. So we have Naruto, a bunch of other TV Tokyo shows, and every time they do get a new show, we still have to like negotiate. Right. It's never like a for sure thing.
Yeah, so it's never like, oh yeah, of course. It's just always have to do the formal sit down. Like,
they treat everything as a new product, and a new relationship goes with that IP. And that's where the brand managers are really important, because the brand managers sort of like divvy up the publishers they work with. And so that person at Crunchyroll will be like the contact with that publisher for the entire lifespan of the relationship.
Cool.
Or while they work there.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Okay. We also have some more questions. So we will move on to those, and then we're going to get to the anime watch party. So we're going to go through these a little bit quickly.
Cool, okay.
So we're getting on time.
Got this. Speed round, lightning round.
Thomas Ignacio Gonzalez Sanchez, who's Sanchez, says, could you ask, sorry, can I ask you guys your opinion about the future of anime as the industry? Is it going strong? Is the audience significantly shifting its tastes? So obviously you guys get to see a lot of anime come out and have a little bit more connection.
Yeah. So I have like a taste that is unlike the common like anime watcher.
Unlike the plebes.
No. I'm not
so superior.
I'm just saying Moe is king, and I'm not into Moe.
Right.
So I feel like
that makes you a plebe.
Yeah, I'm a plebe. I'm like watching like Dominion Tank Police or something.
That's right.
At the same time. So future of the anime industry. Did you think about this question at all, Evan?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I want to hear your answer first.
Well, so I think the fandom is still pretty strong. I've seen some evidence that it's aging, which is not good, but not really strong evidence for that. I think it depends on like what convention you go to.
Yeah.
And that's in the sense of like not enough young fans coming in and the existing fans getting older. But I don't feel like people are leaving anime fandom in large numbers. Like people aren't kind of growing out of it very often.
Do you think it's cyclical at all? Do you think it just sort of...
To some degree.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, there's sort of the boost from Pokemon, like our generation of Pokemon kids,
Sailor Moon,
right?
Dragon Ball Z.
Right. I don't know if there's been a big boost like that in the past like decade or so, some big mainstream thing that brought a bunch of people in. But maybe it's just more of a steady thing because of the internet. Like everybody can just find whatever they like.
Yeah. In America, no. So even though Sailor Moon existed and Dragon Ball Z existed at the same time as Pokemon, they call our generation specifically the Pokemon generation.
Right.
And you're seeing that being echoed right now in Japan with Yokai Watch. So Yokai Watch is introducing a ton of new fans into something that's a little more formulaic than like the standard like Japanese kids show that is anime at the same time. So I think that Yokai Watch is going to create another wave of fans in Japan, at least. Also in Japan right now, being an otaku is cool. Like super cool.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Which wasn't the case
10
years ago or even 5.
Well, it's sort of like nerd culture now. You have all these Marvel movies coming up and everyone's watching them.
Everyone's a nerd now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, bye. Like throwing rocks at me in high school and calling me Sailor Moon, but now like you're watching Sailor Moon. Cool. Anyways, from a business standpoint, future of anime, I think we're pretty safe.
Yeah, there's definitely
there's a
lot of people in the streaming game now, so that might have an impact as that grows. We've definitely, there's a boom and bust cycle in anime, and that's definitely, that sort of thing has happened before, lots of people getting into the game, but I don't know where that cycle's going to end, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time there's around 40 new shows, and a multitude of them do look the same and come off the same.
Yeah.
If you do watch them and like really get into it, they're not the same. A lot of them are based off visual novels, so they do have their own like real stories and things like that. But then you do get 3 or 4 things like Punchline or Ninja Slayer and things that are different and maybe like love songs to older anime.
Yeah.
Same with Kill la Kill. I thought Kill la Kill was very like
absolutely. Yeah,
80s,
it's totally
like,
retro, inspired by Go Nagai and stuff like that.
But that's because it's Trigger. It's like a studio of otaku.
Right.
So we're also seeing people like us like getting into the industry. So the Pokemon generation, we're like working in the industry now. So you're gonna see a lot more like series and stuff like in Japan also that cater to our wants and our needs,
like Chiribako,
like our taste.
might be like a little bit addictive.
Depends. I don't know if the concept of the Pokemon generation is as valid in Japan,
but
right?
We're the same age,
right.
So that's all I mean.
I think I had another thought there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if that's pretty good. Like,
yeah.
It sounds like we're in a good state.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine. I know. It's just like that question, like, means a lot because it's like, what do we mean as fans, or what do we mean as like working at Crunchyroll? Working at Crunchyroll, I'm like, we're fine. Like, everybody's gonna love anime forever. Like, we have enough.
Yeah, I will at least. So
I think one of the biggest developments is the. There's the two big things for me is like there's a lot more short series now, which I think is like we're going to see more and more of that with like cell phone usage, or also like short length, like things like Take You
like
and
2 minutes.
Yeah, so or like 15 minutes, right? So with the more people probably I think watching on like cell phones and stuff like that would sort of increase that. And also like Kickstarter and crowdfunding they're starting to pick up on it more in Japan. Sunao Katabuchi, his new movie, just got crowdfunded through a Japanese crowdfunding service. Plus there have been things that have been crowdfunded through Kickstarter. Trigger's doing it. There's a lot more like international like studios trying to reach out internationally and do their own thing.
More
so
collaboration.
That might change the game quite a lot.
Yeah.
As we sort of like internationalize the industry to the point that like these studios may be more directly interacting with people in 5 years than through intermediaries and stuff.
And as the years go on, people just have less time. So a 2-minute series is like much easier to ingest than a series.
Yeah, and that's the case for me. Yeah. That's why I'm watching
also,
a lot of short
like,
anime.
The gaming industry feels the same way I think about like games on phones, like mobile games. Like RPGs like are going to be a thing of like the past because everybody's doing mobile games and things like that. And I spoke with a game developer in Japan. He worked on like Final Fantasy 1 and things like that, and he like hands down thinks mobile games are like just the future because people aren't going to have time to like sit at home like on a console and play an 80-hour game.
Sure. I think there'll always be that audience. It's just maybe
it's going to become
obviously
smaller.
The focus has become a lot of mobile games just because it reaches so many more people.
Or maybe the audience will stay the same size, but mobile games will reach more people.
And both of those, the short stuff and the crowdfunded stuff, I think allows more creators to kind of make things specifically for people who like them, right? Like not this please everybody designed by committee stuff, but just like I want to make this cool thing that I like, and there's some audience that's going to like it too.
Right.
And I'm going to put that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe Moe will cycle out.
It definitely will to some degree. It's just a question of when, right? All fads end eventually.
No, I'm kidding. There's some stuff that is technically Moe that I love, but
it's always an exception.
Yeah.